I used to do lots of things.
I used to do things and I'd say things and Jesus, I was evil. Take things and break things and Jesus, I was evil. I never shook, baby.
I mean, I'm not saying that we should teach kids about the art of cannibalism, but we should consider it. Oh, you can.
For those just listening, Joe, what am I doing?
I think you're trying to bring me back into the flock, to the
power of Christ, Joe.
It compels me.
Yes, it compels you. Oh, is it compelling me?
Is that what he's doing?
I'm holding a crucifix up to the camera.
That's what he's doing up there?
Because Joe has been going to too many Satanist meetings in already hell on earth Los Angeles.
Yes, we're quite godless here.
Except for the Mexican church behind your house.
Yeah. So yeah, I've welcome everyone to the latest episode.
This is an exorcism / intervention.
an ex-invention.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tweeted about this for those of you who follow me on Twitter, who are cool enough to follow me on Twitter. This is I went to a satanic ritual gathering performance art thing last Friday night, and I had an interesting time. So I should clarify the reason why I do this. I'm not a Satanist. I think the more I learn about that dork Satan, the more I don't like him. But that being said, I am working on a feature-length screenplay about a cult, and so I go to weird places for inspiration.
You know who had a cult? Jesus.
one of the biggest cults ever.
I'm not even kidding. It was called the cult. Wasn't it like the cult of Jesus Christ? Or the Christians were very much considered a cult. The early Christians.
Yeah, and then they upgraded to a society in like the 17 somethings.
Well, then they got power. Yeah. Then they were like, now you're all fucked.
Everyone else is a cult now.
Psych, we're coming back for you. Took one emperor to convert, and it's like, oh boy. Look who's in the driver's seat.
But anyway, I've gone to one of these before. It was the same crew. It was Coma Witch. I believe she's a witch who puts people into comas, or she is a witch who came out of a coma. I'm not quite sure which. And her husband, who is the venerable Reverend Eater of Filth. That's his stage name, I guess. And he's a vegan. And I'm not making any of this up, by the way. Like that's like the weird little stage names.
Don't deny any of that.
But anyway, so I found out about this because it was part of like a gothic art vendor meetup thing. We're just going to be selling your wares and stuff. So it might be kind of cool. It's free. I'll go check it out. But the night before the event, they were like, "Hey, we're going to do this thing called a blasphemy sin thing, a sin gathering or something like that." And it was free. So I was like, okay, I'll go check this out. And so what they did was they I guess like you can tell them beforehand, like, hey, I want to join your stupid dumbass cult. Can I be initiated?
That's how you should say it too. That's definitely how you'll get in the good graces of these people.
I guess you can reach out to them before and say, hey, like I want to, like I really want to be a conformist. How do I conform? And then they're like, oh yeah, so here's what you do. So they had like a group of volunteers go up, and so like Reverend Eater of Filth, he kind of reminds me of like Eric Wareheim. He's kind of this big doofy.
Wait, he goes by Reverend Eater of Filth.
Eater of Filth.
Yes. That's the full name.
Yeah.
All right.
But here's another reason why I'm not into at least not into LA Satanism, because it seems very woke, very hipster, because they're vegans and they're all into like LGBTQ, LMNOP, and like they're all into that alphabet people. But anyway, so you can like volunteer to be part of, to participate in, joining their stupid thing. And but it was interesting. So I'm there and I'm hanging out with all these weird goth people. And there's free alcohol. So like I'm getting sloshed. And then so they begin their stupid ritual, and like so I think part of the ritual involves you bringing something of like your previous faith, like, so if like, if you were Christian, you bring a crucifix or a Bible or something, and then you have to like desecrate it. So it's like you spit on it. Yeah, exactly. You bring something like that. but here's why it's so non-metal. This ritual, it's so unmetal. So because they were renting the place out, this wasn't like a designated Satanism thing. Like they were renting the place, they had to keep it clean. So somebody brought something that was
their deposit back.
Exactly. This is what it takes. It takes all the piss out of like how dark and spooky and evil it is. Like, oh, sorry guys,
Hey
you gotta be out
guys,
of here
can you please clean up after you're done?
we gotta be out here by 11 p.m. You guys, we're gonna
We'll
call
give my deposit back. There's a $50 deposit. Last
But,
time they charged us a cleaning fee.
$35, guys, unless you guys want to split that fee. But so they all brought some, you know, vestige from their previous faith, and somebody brought, I didn't see what it was, but it was made of glass or ceramic.
Did
And
anyone bring anything Jewish?
I didn't see. I was a few rows back. I didn't.
I
see.
bet you no one brought anything Jewish.
I wouldn't be.
It's kind of in the air right now. I don't think it would go over well if someone brought a menorah or a horn. Or,
well, again, I mean, this is LA, so like it's still pretty woke. So they're still like, oh, guys, you can't bring, you know, certain things. You know, it's offensive. It's might cause harm.
It's basically just Christians. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like in Alan Partridge. I brought it before. Someone said something. I brought it up on the last episode, and he's a radio host, and so says something about Muslims. He cuts. It's like, no, never Muslims, just Christians. Sometimes the Jews.
But
anyway,
so he's going. So like Reverend Eater of Filth, he reminds me of Eric Wareheim, just kind of like this big doofy idiot.
Who is that? I don't know who that is.
Oh, like Tim and Eric. You know,
yeah.
Just kind of
he looks like that guy.
Yeah, he's kind of like this big, kind of chubby, doofy idiot. But he's a hipster though, so he's got like a man bun, he's got thick glasses and a big porn mustache, very hipster looking.
Sure.
But so he gets up and he's fumbling over his satanic rite. And like he's like he hasn't like memorized it yet. And then so like, okay, so you know, rejects, you know, desecrate the semblance of your previous faith, and then they would like spit on their Bible, or they would, you know, throw their thing. But the person who brought like the glass thing, like he threw it and then like it shattered, and like everybody was like, like, oh, like dude, not because we were like offended, but it's like, oh dude, like someone's gonna have to clean that up, sort of thing. Like,
oh, God damn it, Mark.
So Reverend Eater felt like, you can tell he was kind of like surprised, like, oh, we're gonna have to deal with that later. But anyway, on with the ritual, sort of thing. So they do the ritual, and then so they brought some busty chick out, and she was passing out apples, and I had one of the apples, and I ate the apple when they said, oh, everyone take a bite of the forbidden fruit or whatever.
So they were handing out apples.
Yeah,
they had snacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was an apple. I guess it's supposed to represent like, you know, the Garden of Eden, the
gotcha.
Fruit thing.
Yeah.
It was a Honey Crisp, and I'm sure that they got at like a Whole Foods or something. Like, I don't think it was that forbidden. Yeah. But so they go through the ritual and they reject Christ, and like, oh, do you reject the conformity of the Christian faith? And then all of them at the same time said, yes, we do. Blah blah blah. And it's like, you know, it's just funny, just like they're leaving the conformity of one church to join the conformity of another church. Like that's why it's so silly to me. Yes. But after they did the ritual thing, and then everyone kind of just, you know, the group kind of dispersed a little bit, and then somebody came out with a dustbin and like a broom and was like sweeping up the thing. So I'd gone to this thing before. It was at a different location, but the reason why I wanted to go again was because they had a little bit more going on. So after that, they followed up with a kink show thing.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
I mean, what do these women look like?
One of them was pretty hot. The other looked okay, but she was wearing like, she was kind of like in this sort of nun slut costume, and she had like kiss makeup, like just like
just got it from a Spirit Halloween.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It was you know, all of it's just dumb theatrics. Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm not a prude when it comes to like sexuality and stuff, but this is just painful. It was just sort of like, I don't know. But like, so what they did was like the nun slut chick, she bent the redhead chick over, and she just kept like paddling her ass in like weird ways, in creative ways, I guess.
Was it hot?
Not really. I mean, like the redhead was pretty hot, but it was just sort of like, she broke the skin, so it was kind of like a nice ass.
Jesus.
Yeah, it
really?
It got bloody. Yeah, like it was like, I felt bad for the redhead. want to go like offer her some Neosporin. Like it was just sort of like, poor girl, but she seemed to like it. One thing that was kind of cool, but it was more like a magic. It was cool, like in a magic trick, magic show sort of way. She put all these clothespins on her ass, and then she got a whip, and then she was whipping them off. Like she had like really good Indiana Jones aim, like when it comes to like whipping them off her ass. But that was the kink show. Oh, and then they did one other thing too. They did a needle play thing. That like I have a pretty strong stomach, but by that time I was like I already had a few drinks. I wasn't feeling too great, and it was like so. What it was like this guy. He sat down on a stool, and then some chick, she got like these sterilized gloves, and she's sticking like needles like into his face. Like she would fold the skin and kind of like put like a needle through it. It wasn't. I didn't care much for it. I was kind of like, okay, like this. I need to step out of the room for a little bit. Yeah, I was hoping for.
It just sounds unpleasant.
Yeah, it wasn't particularly cool or artful, or it was just sort of like, yeah, like I'm gonna like spank this chick until she bleeds.
What's the crowd like? Are they enjoying it?
Yeah.
Or are you you're like an outlier?
Yeah,
not liking it.
Yeah, I'm just kind of I don't know, man. It's like
okay.
But another weird non-binary chick. I tend to attract those for some reason whenever I go to these weird events.
I could see that.
I don't know.
Is that who you took? Is that who you posted a picture with on the Instagram story?
No. That's my friend Melissa.
Okay.
That was I got to get her on the show. She's really cool. She's a talented artist. She's not into weird shit. She's just.
Well, you can be into weird shit, just like cool weird shit.
No. Melissa's cool. This is just weird, dumb, stupid shit.
So what did this they them say to you?
It was just one of those things. I mean, she was almost kind of attractive. It frustrates me like how much ideology ruins the appearances of so many women. Where it's like you're kind of attractive, but it's just like you got like a weird funky hairdo and it's painted a weird color, and it's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah, but that can be fun.
It could
be like attractive is attractive in terms of looks.
Yeah.
It's more of then when they start talking.
Yeah, well, it was one of those things.
I don't mean like a misogynist, like not women. I mean like that's certain ideology for guys too. Like there could be a good-looking guy, and then when he starts talking, it's like, oh, you're like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it was one of those things where again, I had a few drinks, and it was just sort of like, yeah, sure, I'll talk to her, I'll flirt with her a little bit. So, but like we're just kind of like, I mean, nothing happened. She got super wasted, so she had to somebody had to drive her home. But it's funny, like I'm such a chivalrous boy. So I checked in with their friends. I was like, hey, so what happened to your friend? Like, oh, she got really drunk, but don't worry, she went home with a friend, blah, blah, blah. But thanks for asking this and that. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
Did you get her number?
No, I didn't. And I'm now that I'm sober-ish, I'm kind of like, maybe it's glad that I didn't.
All right. But, all right. So are you going back to see Dr. Reverend Filth?
Eater of
Filth. Oh, I give him two titles: Reverend Eater of Filth.
Reverend Eater of Filth. I guess they do this a couple times a year. So
how can you have a name like that and like the part of the show is not eating like gross shit?
That'd have been cool. It's like they just like, hey, throw stuff onto stage and I'll put it in my mouth and eat it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. But it's just like
thing.
Cauliflower.
I'm organic. It's a non-GMO.
All right. So you're doing this for research.
Yes.
Air quotes research.
Yeah.
All right. Keep doing your research, Joe.
I'm going. Hey, look, if Hunter S. Thompson can spend a year with, I know. Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm a lapsed Catholic, but even like if I went to like Catholic mass, it would be more fulfilling than going to the stupid Satan thing. So I'm not anti-Christ. So
I think Satanists, like I understand the point they're trying to prove sometimes with the free speech.
Sure.
When it's really it's a foil to the like Christian right, where it's like, okay, if you guys want to start pushing religion in your fairly monotonous community, even though there are minorities of people who don't believe what you believe, but you can push it all through because you control the government, the local governments, or whatever. And the Satanists kind of come in and be like, all right, fine, then we're gonna try and put up a statue of Satan or do Satan story hour or whatever these things are in schools. Right. And I'm not giving great examples here. Like, I understand that. Like, I see the purpose of that, where it's more of just a provocative political statement, but not like putting needles in your face because the devil, like, that doesn't, I don't know. I think there's so many interesting kind of Satanists, or like the devil is such a plays such a large role in American culture, like even
Right.
today in some areas, but it was for many people for a long time. Like the devil is very much a real part of their life, like
Right.
every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the title, great title. Haven't read the book. The movie was not very good. The Devil All the Time. Like it's literally like this. It's so for some communities, like the devil is a very real part of their life.
Right. Right.
And I think it's like tried to have these like crits in LA and some storage unit they rented in LA is like, ugh, it's so boring.
Yeah. It's really watered down. But at the same time, the creatively it was interesting for me because it's because I'm writing this horror script that deals with occults.
Mhm.
It it is interesting seeing the hypocrisy of like reject that group because that's where the conformists are. Come here and sign up to our belief system,
Are
and
they
we'll all
still
be the
using the
same.
word conformist?
Yeah, conformity
That's so
is
funny.
I know.
That's so like early 2000s.
I was
like
just gonna say,
90s.
like, I'm sure we've all seen those shirts and dudes wearing like emo dudes in high school, where it's like, you laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh at you because you're all the same. Where it's like you're going out of your way to show,
Yeah.
like, it's like, oh come on, dude, like,
Yeah, it's conformist, like
Yeah.
it's like very 90s, early 2000s. I feel
Yes.
like,
yeah,
and I'm surprised that I expect more out of the West Coast. Like LA's supposed to be kind of trendsetters, but you're not. You're all
No.
boring,
Yeah,
and
no. But it is funny that like thanks, man. I needed that. But I mean, it is funny just the theatrics of it all. Like like I said, they put on a show, so it is kind of entertaining in that regard, and it's fun to people watch, and just seeing how like the whole time I'm just like shaking my head at just like how.
do they think you're a narc?
I don't know. I think everywhere I go, here's the thing: whichever group I fit in with, or
Mhm.
whichever like sort of scene I go to, I never quite fit in.
Hmm.
So like other than like maybe like the rainbow or the whiskey, where it's like, oh, he's got long hair, okay, he's here to see some shitty metal band, like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, he's with us.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like if I go to a fancy art gallery thing, or like a satanic
You
ritual
just put
thing.
your hair back, and you could go to the fancy art gallery thing. And
Well, that's what I'm doing tonight. Actually, I'm going to
where are you going?
I'm going to see some. It's a free classical concert.
Oh, that's nice. You like
yeah,
that?
it'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. They're having a cookie reception.
Oh, we should talk about. That's nice. We should
Yeah.
talk about the Kate Blanchett, that clip.
Oh, that's right.
Because it's about Bach.
Yeah.
right? And you love Bach.
I do. Yes.
I know what you like.
Yeah.
Remember, Joe, I know what you like. How cool is that clip? I don't know is that from a movie or a show? I mean, obviously, but like a movie show, like what is that?
Yeah, it's a movie that came out recently. I believe it's called Tar, but there's like an apostrophe over the A, or like an accent over the A.
Is it like a foreign movie? It's all
I'm not
English?
sure, actually.
I mean, she's kind of saying what we've been saying for a year, over a year on this show.
So my enthusiasm for that clip that had been circulating around has dampened a little bit.
Why?
Well, here's the thing. I agree full-heartedly with the point that she was making in that clip, and maybe we should do a brief summary of that.
Go ahead.
So Kate Blanchett plays a composer, conductor, instructor at some classical music class thing or whatever, and she's giving she's giving a lecture in front of this class, and she brings up a student, and she's playing. Actually, know which piece it was. It's the Prelude in C from the Well-Tempered Clavier, Book 1 in C major. But she's playing this piece, and she goes, "Oh, so we're talk like that." I know, but she's playing this Bach piece on the piano, and then she goes, "Oh, so what do you think of Bach?" And then he's like, "Well, I'm not really into white cis male hetero composers."
Yeah.
And then she I don't remember everything that she says, but she talks basically about like your identity, that's not meritorious. It's what your accomplishment stuff like that.
Like reducing someone to these like superficial details.
And so she basically shames him in front of this class, and then he stomps out. She goes, "Yeah, I can see that you get all of your ideas on merit from social media." So here's the thing: she in that speech is 100% correct. Like it's so much of the things that we talk about on the show all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why my enthusiasm for that clip has tempered a little bit, I haven't seen the movie, but from what I understand, she's not exactly the hero of that movie. There's something, she's a little more anti-heroic or sort of gray area-ish. And I also thought
Okay.
it was so heavy-handed.
But hold on, what do you mean?
I guess she had, I think she's kind of a groomer or kind of a sex predator type character or something.
Yeah, but and so she's like a monster, but that doesn't mean what she's saying isn't true.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But the other thing that I the other minor issue that I had with that was that it was very heavy-handed. It was sort of like it was just like, hey, let's take the culture war and put it in a clip, and it's like I don't know.
Right.
Like I said, like I totally agree with what you said, but it was just sort of like a character saying cis white hetero male
Sure.
music. I was like, it was a little too heavy-handed. I would have liked it if the screenwriter was a little more subtle in terms of making that same point.
Maybe we should watch this movie before we discuss it more. But like, so do you think that the message is that these people who have these views, like Kate Blanchett, like us, like we're the bad guys, like we're the enemies because like she's a villain,
right?
Kind of like how they've made Jordan Peterson into Red Skull.
Yes, right.
But then again, people are gonna like what Red Skull has to say and what Kate Blanchett's character has to say. I don't know. Maybe we should watch the movie first. But I just like the fact that I don't know. People will watch and be like, okay, but like she's right about that stuff, or that like the fact that it's basically. I think what I'm trying to say is the fact that it's out there in a movie with like a A-list celebrity like that. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
because a lot of times when they put out something like let's say Hollywood, for lack of a better term, addresses these sorts of issues, it's really not done with any tact. Like it's just very like, oh, they're racist, fascist, neo-Nazi, whatever. Like they're like, it's not really packaged in a interesting way, like any sort of like meritorious way, even if the person is like the villain in the end. So I don't know. I guess we'll watch it more. I actually do want to talk about another movie real quick. After you're done. I don't know if you're finished with.
I'm pretty much done.
So I mean, kind of the same thing. I just watched a movie. You ever seen the movie The Believer?
I don't think so.
It's Ryan Gosling. It's from like 2002. He's a Jewish skinhead. So I mean, not obviously at the same time, like or kind of, but like he is Jewish from New York. So there's flashbacks when he's in like Hebrew school, or yeshiva, I should say, and he's like arguing with his teacher, and then it goes to the present day, and he's like a legit skinhead, like stalking Jewish people and beating the shit out of them and going to white supremacist things, and he's like conflicted, obviously. And I don't think the movie does a great job of showing how he got from point A to point B. I wrote the review for it today. It's one of my biggest issues with it. But apparently it's based on a real guy named something Burroughs. I don't know, but a real guy who committed suicide after it was published that he was Jewish, even though he was like a major player in the like white supremacist movement.
Right.
But anyway, in the movie, again, this is from the early 2000s. Ryan Gosling is kind of a firebrand. Like he's well spoken. Because he's like educated. He's not rich. It looks like he's from like the lower middle class, but he's educated and he's articulate. And he goes on about, a lot of conspiracy theory things that are almost all untrue, but he packages them in a smart way. But he goes to like a kind of fascist, the typical room full of guys and a couple women in an apartment somewhere discussing theory and politics and next steps and stuff like that. And actually Billy Zane's in it. Billy Zane plays like the educated, like right-wing fascist, articulate foil to Ryan Gosling's kind of skinhead. More like he's literally wearing a red t-shirt with a gigantic swastika on it. Like you could not do that today. I don't know if anyone did that then, but like in New York City, like walking down the street with a bunch of skinheads beating the shit out of people. And Billy Zane's kind of the more, we need to get more into the culture and the politics, and we're leaving all that shit behind. Like we're leaving behind the haircut and the, over attack on the Jews. And while I obviously disagree with all of that,
Yeah.
it's in 2001, 2002. He's talking about things like the quote unquote free trade and ruining communities, and how IPOs have been replaced with communities. Like, that's the trade-off. And these things that now are very salient points,
Right.
like that
right.
any left winger actually says sort of the same thing.
Right.
Like, this is what's ruined communities. Now they're the way to resolve it is different for them. It's to get rid of minorities and Jews and stuff like that. But like, it's the same cause.
Right.
Like it's you offshore, you ruined our communities, you offshored all of our jobs, you let like social progressivism run wild. And it's kind of the same stuff we're dealing with today, and the rise of what we're dealing with today on the right.
Yeah,
and this was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So my point being is that, like, yeah, I agree with Billy Zane's character on a lot of that stuff. I mean, I agree with how to solve it. But
Right.
He's addressing the issue back then. And I'm watching this, I'm like, holy shit, like this could be like now. Like this could be going on right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of similar to what so again, it's like you're kind of agreeing with the bad guy in certain ways, even if you're not like full-throatedly like supporting them.
How does that movie compare to American History X?
Oh, no, American History X is fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, it's a terrific movie.
Yeah, no, I would say it's not. And I as I was writing, I was lowering my score a little. I think I get it like a 72, which isn't bad at all. It's good.
Yeah,
it's just like, because it's more of like a thriller. It's just, he's very conflicted where like they go and they desecrate a synagogue, but then he's like stopping them from doing certain things to it, like ripping the Torah in half, and I'm wearing like certain headpieces and stuff. And it's like, dude, like you're a skinhead, literally planting a bomb in a synagogue.
Yeah.
Like it was very strange. It almost like he vacillates throughout the movie, and I appreciate that, like that morally gray thing, even though he's a piece of shit because he's like just attacking people. And I don't know, it's he tries to kind of almost do like he goes to some elite right-wing meeting in New York City, with not like skinheads, but with people in suits and like the high rollers of the right wing in New York, whatever's left of it or whatever exists there. There is a right wing in New York, but it's not, I don't think it's very big, but and tries to convince them something like, the way I would summarize it was like, we hate the Jews, so we have to love the Jews, like something really weird. And they get really mad at him because it's not what they thought he would say. And I don't know, the movie didn't have a lot of like, the plot was too like unbelievable,
right?
Even though it's based off a real guy, which I think if it was just more of right away that he's Jewish, like that's not hidden, it's not like a reveal, it's like right away, after 2 or 3 scenes, that he's Jewish and now a skinhead.
Right.
I think it would have been better if that was more of a reveal and it was like hints at it, and then he becomes conflicted, and then he might, because in the movie, Ryan Gosling, like a reporter for the New York Times, is going to expose him, and he puts a gun on the table. It's like, I'll fucking kill myself. Like I will kill myself if you expose me as being Jewish or something. But anyway, it's worth seeing. Ryan Gosling's great. But yeah, I think it could have been better.
Yeah. That's a bummer, man.
So, Twitter. We love Twitter.
Yeah. Okay.
Is Twitter gonna die?
I don't think so. I think like 90% of the experience of Twitter is probably not going to change much for 90% of the people who use it. I think it's really most going to affect a handful of people on a few things. That's my guess. I could be way off on this, but I don't think it's going to dramatically change.
I just remember I just signed on like today or yesterday or something. Yeah. People are like, if this is my last tweet, I'm like, what did I miss? Like,
exactly.
What is going on here?
They're treating it like it's like there's a comet heading towards Earth or something.
Yeah.
It's so. Hey, real quick, just because this reminds me of something. A lot of TV stations have a sort of end of the world broadcast in case that happens, in case there's something where it's like, in case there's an apocalyptic event, or it's like, oh, there's a comet coming. Like, a lot of them have like, hey, thank you so much for being loyal viewers for this many years, or whatever. So yeah, but it reminded me of that. If it's sort of, thank you guys so much, I had a great time on here, I met some amazing people, but it seems like this is the end. It's like, it's not apocalypse, dude. It's not.
So I agree with you. I don't think it's going to change very much. I think it's going to go it's going to inch a little more to what it used to be. Like pre Great Awakening, kind of I should say more like pre-Trump.
Yeah.
Trump is what broke a lot of people. I think it's going to go a little towards that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be the free for all that it used to be.
Right.
But I love so much the blue check meltdown and the hysteria. It's so funny because they were in control for so long. They were in power for so long and got such preferential treatment. And now the tables are turning just a little bit. And like you said, it's as if a comet was headed towards the earth.
A super volcano.
I love it. I'm so excited. It's so great to watch.
You know what's funny is that like Elon Musk democratizing access to the blue check status. It's like isn't that kind of a left-wing thing of like, hey, look, now everybody has equal access to a blue check next to their name. Like you don't have to have your name mentioned in a legacy public
because these people aren't left-wing. Like they're like, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. They're overeducated establishment, like somewhat very progressive on some social issues that are usually the dumbest issues to be super progressive on. Like, it's not like they're just like left wing. I mean, they're more left than right, of course.
Sure.
But they're just like, it's a very, you have to be within, because like there's nothing left wing about being like pro big pharma and silencing people, or it is now. I don't know. Like these terms can change, I guess, with what people are, and there's always that push and pull. These are we're just defining terms, but like, they're a very certain type of, like the laptop class. Like they're the commentary at the laptop class. There's like they're not kind of and remember. Very like, although Twitter feels like the world a lot, like I think like a very small percentage of people are actually on Twitter. Like they're just, I should say, they're overly represented. Like their viewpoints are overly represented on Twitter than what actually exists in like our society.
Right. And when historically the left was largely against major corporations, but it's like, you've got Google on your side and you've got Apple on your side and you've got like all these major corporations on your side. Like you guys are not like the fringe, like, oh, like we want the people who aren't represented anymore. It's like, no, you've got major billionaire corrupt corporations on your side now. Like, what do you you're not the resistance.
They're not the ones, exactly, and they haven't been in a while. They're not the ones who have to worry about like their bank accounts being frozen or about like their view, like all of their views are in the parades and in the corporate logos. And I have like fucking, like, I'm a New Jersey Devils fan for hockey. Why the fuck are the Devils tweeting about Kyle Rittenhouse? Like make the playoffs. Like what? What are you? And I hated that so much. It was fun when like Wendy's would tell KFC to go fuck off. Like that was funny. Not when, you have sports teams tweeting about Georgia voting rights. Like what ruined it? Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it made being a jackass in public a lot easier. So when shit like that happens, sometimes I'm like, I think we need a dictatorship to just kind of like stupidity.
I've become way more comfortable with the fascist dictator takeover as long as they agree with me. And honestly, that's what I said. I cannot fuck all the democracy talk is such bullshit. None of these people give a shit about democracy.
Right. Yeah.
They if they could, they would want their views in power 100% of the time, all the time, unchallenged and unchecked. The only reason they say democracy is because right now democracy is what their people in power like to say. Like they like that because it works for them right now until it doesn't.
Right. And I highly doubt that they could actually give like any kind of, meaningful definition, like a differentiation between a democracy and a republic. It's like, can you tell me the difference between those two? And I'm not even saying like which one's better. But it's like you keep saying democracy a lot. Do you know what democracy means? Can you tell me why it's better than a republic? Can you do that?
Democracy is not like okay, let's have votes in a bunch of states in the South and Midwest about like gay rights and trans rights and Muslim rights and gun right and all these things. Like, no, you don't want that. You would love for the federal government to come in and mandate all the things you want. right? Even if you live in California, New Jersey, like that, like you would want that in a second. You do not give a shit. Like you would love if Arkansas made abortion legal until the third trimester, until the moment of giving birth. You would love that, and you would support that, even if 75% of Arkansans would not. So like you do not care about democracy, and I would appreciate if more people just said that. It's like, no, I want my principles and my values in power. Like that's what I want, because at least you'd be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Like I really don't like that Charlie Kirk guy. You know,
Charlie, like the right-wing guy.
Yeah.
I
don't like him, but I will. You know, this is years ago, so maybe his opinion has changed on this, but he was on an interview. He was on Dave Rubin's show, and Dave Rubin, I think, asked him about gay marriage, and he goes, you know, I think it's a sin, and I disagree with gay marriage, but it's the law of the land, so that people voted on it, so you know, I'm just not going to make an issue of it. And I'm like, okay, you know, that's you're at least being consistent. Like, hey, look, everybody voted for it. I'm against it.
Well, no, so I mean, that's not right. People didn't vote on gay marriage. Actually, that's the argument. The Supreme Court.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, sure.
Decided so, and that's the argument, and that's why both sides do the same shit for all of this. Like, I'll get arguments for right wingers when the Supreme Court's too liberal about stuff, and then it's the left wing who wants to tear down the Supreme Court when it's like abortion.
Right.
And actually, I want to touch on that too. But then, and then it'll be the left wing wants to, or excuse me, the right wing wants to tear down the Supreme Court when it's like they rule for gay marriage being legalized all over the country. It's like, well, you have to stick to your principles. And I think, I get that's what you're saying with Charlie Kirk, right? And I appreciate that too. And what the Supreme Court did, I don't know if I don't necessarily agree with them on abortion. My abortion views personally are like pretty mainstream America, which is whenever someone talks about abortion, my first question is, okay, when? Right. And that's really where there's difference. Is it conception? Is it right before birth? And those are the fringes. Most people are first trimester. Like this is like statistically, I think 70% of Americans are like first trimester, probably not after that. The left wing goes way too far in states like California, New York, and New Jersey, where you can basically have an abortion the day before you give birth. You can make some excuse or, health of the mother. And then the right wing goes way too far. And we saw that. And I think a lot of right wingers got exposed. And that's what killed them in the midterms was like, no, you don't want it, period. Like you don't want it at all. And also you want to take away contraception and game and all this stuff. And like, they got a little too big for the britches there. Now what the Supreme Court did was all they did was kick it back to the states and leave it up to democracy.
Exactly.
And guess what? Democracy actually worked for the Democrats. Every single state that had abortion on the ballot in the midterms voted to keep it legal, even in deep red states like Kentucky and Kansas. So like it kind of fucking worked. Like it showed, and if anything, it hurt the Republicans. If there was an abortion on this as an issue in these midterms, Republicans probably would have
cleaned up.
The only thing that hurt them was they don't shut the fuck up about Stop the Steal. And about this voting stuff. And if they just shut up about that and they didn't have the abortion ruling, they would have like super majorities in both chambers right now.
Yeah.
But no, because Republicans are stupid, just like Democrats are stupid because they're all fucking stupid. But anyway, democracy, and I could give many examples of how the Democrats quash democracy when they're either fighting opponents on their left, like they're being primaried by a more left-wing person, or the Green Party. They did that in North Carolina. They're so full of it, and that's what drives me crazy is when the parties are full of it. And not that long ago, the Republicans were full of it with democracy and like bringing democracy to Iraq. Like they don't give a shit about bringing democracy to Iraq. They want to have cheaper gasoline, like want to have cheaper oil, and just give more money to military contractors. Like that's what they care about. So like both sides lie. So right now the Democrats are like nauseating about democracy. I vote for a dictator to shut everyone up.
Yeah, me too.
I think way too often about what I would do if I were dictator.
Me too.
Yeah. I think way. And like from the most mind, like the smallest things from like making everyone learn the difference between irony and coincidence to putting taxes on certain people, like huge variations in what I would do if I just had like, not even really dictator, more of like absolute monarch, like Saudi Arabia style.
Yeah, I mean, it's like whenever somebody tweets something I don't like, I'm like, we got to bring back the guillotine. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to be Fred Armisen in Parks and Rec, like straight to jail.
Yeah.
You say this straight to jail, like you're all
You
in
overcook
jail.
chicken, straight to jail. You
Straight to
undercook fish,
Overcook,
straight to
undercook,
jail.
straight to
Undercook,
jail.
overcook.
Believe it or
straight to
not, straight to jail. Played music too loud. Believe it or not, yell.
jail. If you're late to your dentist appointment, straight to jail. We have the best dentist patients because of jail.
Yeah, that'd be me. That would be me.
I was going to micromanage everyone's daily lives.
Mhm.
It's like if you're paying with cash and there's a long line behind you, jail. No,
Yeah,
no,
jail.
no
Straight
checks.
to
No.
Yeah.
But what else should we talk about?
Do you know what you should do next time you go to Dr. Reverend Filth? Is
Yeah.
you should bring, just don't do anything to it because I don't
Yeah.
want you to get in like, but just bring Quran and see what happens.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just like bring one and they're like they would shit a brick. Like
Yeah,
they would
yeah.
stop you from desecrating it.
Yeah.
I
That'd be
want to
interesting.
put this out there. I am not saying to desecrate a Quran.
Right.
I'm not saying that.
It's a social experiment.
I want, yes, a social to prove the hypocrisy of these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they actually say like, all right, go for it, more
Oh.
power to them, more credit to them. But there's not a chance that these crits, like wannabe Satanists, would like actually let you go through with desecrating a Quran.
I'm curious about.
Inshallah.
So I think that this strain of Satanism here in LA is sort of like a weird offshoot of like the Anton LaVeyan Satanism from the 60s, because it's basically just hedonism with the lights off. But I'm curious about which branch of Satanism that they're part of, because I mean, here's the thing. I found out about this thing through Eventbrite. Like, this isn't like
yeah, you told me that. Yeah, no self-respecting Satanist group is on Eventbrite or any other social media like meetup or anything like that.
This isn't like word of mouth, like we found an abandoned insane asylum, that's where we're gonna hold a ritual, or this is taking place in the woods and we're gonna wear robes and shit. It's like, no, it's like on Eventbrite, and it's free, but you can pay a $5 donation.
No, dude,
sort of
the coolest Satanists are the ones from like Rosemary's Baby, who are just like your neighbors, like just upper East Side, like white collar, old money people who just have like everything they could ever want, and just have that hole in their heart where like Christ or God or whatever could be, and they just like fill that with Satan, like that. Those are the fun Satanists. Like those are the cool ones.
Yeah, no, this is just dumb, like angsty teenager Satanism. But anyway, I was gonna say, like, I wonder if I brought like a real like an eldritch satanic text and brought it there, and it's like, would they freak out over that? Like, oh my god, dude, like,
I don't know enough about Satanism. Like, I obviously know who Anton LaVey is. Didn't he have like weird eyebrows? So the guy with like weird eyebrows, or no?
I think he invented the chola look. I think he shaved the eyebrows thing, and then he just like did like the
Yeah, exactly. He like drew them on, right? Yeah. Or maybe I'm thinking of someone else. Like, I feel like they use. Remember the shows, like, I guess I don't know if they're still around, like Jerry Springer and stuff, where they would just bring the freaks, like the dregs of society, and they just like drag them on stage.
Yeah.
And I feel like they would always have this Satanist guy. Who had like pointy eyebrows, and he was like the Satanist guy, and they'd have like the Christian moms yelling at him, and then they'd have the skinhead and the KKK guy and the black whatever, and I don't know
that. So real quick, just because Weird Al, he came out with that movie, which I want to see. I heard good things about that Weird Al.
I saw it.
Is it good?
Did we not talk about this?
We have not talked about it.
We didn't talk about this 2 episodes ago.
I think we mentioned Weird Al. I mentioned the UHF movie that he did.
So I like Daniel Radcliffe in it a lot. I think he's good. Some of it's funny, but it's like a satire of a biopic.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, well, because it's satire, like it's supposed to be ridiculous. Yeah. Like, and I think like Dewey Cox, right? Is that what it was called? Yeah. Like that was, you have a guy like get cut in half, right? Yeah. Walk Hard. Like that's ridiculous too, but this is almost too ridiculous. Like at one point, Weird Al Yankovic is shooting a machine gun at Pablo Escobar in Colombia, and like Madonna takes over the drug cartel. I guess it's a spoiler. I'm sorry. Like right. It's not. It's just a ridiculous movie,
right?
And some of it's kind of funny, where it's very much, it's the typical arc of a biopic.
Yeah.
Father, like daddy issues and trouble at home, and no one believing in him, and him getting a spark, and the pinnacle, and he has the gorgeous mansion, walking around the robe, and then the problems and the girl and all that stuff. But it becomes a little too much for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to bring up the movie UHF, the Weird Al movie that he did back in the late 80s.
Oh, I don't know that one.
So he plays this guy who can't hold down a job because he lets his daydreams like kind of, like his daydreams always kind of get in the way, and he gets fired from like flipping burgers and shit. And then he ends up getting inheriting a TV station, some small like public access TV station. And at first the shows that he has are just kind of really dumb generically. He has like some dumb kids show, and then he has like some talk show where he's interviewing locals, and it's like really dumb. And so the TV station is about to fail. But the janitor who works there, who's played by Michael Richards, who played Kramer in Seinfeld, is this doofy, lovable guy. And so Weird Al's character is like, hey, the radio station is going to shut down, or the TV station is going to shut down. Do you want your own TV show, janitor? And then he's like, okay. And so, but then the show becomes a huge hit, and then so Weird Al's like, oh whoa, like people love weird stuff. Okay, sure. So he feels like the whole station is just a bunch of weird, wacky stuff, and then it ends up becoming like the most popular TV station in town. But like one of the shows that he hosts a talk show, and this came out in '89, so this is like the rise of sort of like that trashy talk show,
right?
The Rivera show. And so he has a show called Town Talk, and he's interviewing a bunch of wacko people. But they show the panel for just a single episode, and the camera's panning, and it's like there's like a Klansman, and then like a Jason Voorhees, the hockey mask killer, and then there's like a Satanist guy, and then the camera pans down. There's like a 12-year-old girl, and then it's just like, but it's just like, and then there's like a couple of hookers, and like that's just on one episode. But it was totally making fun of that thing. But like all the shows that he has, like almost all of them are like,
which is kind of before its time, right? Like those shows were very 90s.
Yeah. Like it was like probably like 87, 88 is when those shows first started to kind of percolate. That movie it's comfort food for my soul, because it's like I love underdog stories, and this is like an underdog who saves the day through his weirdness, where it's like, hey, like all my crazy ideas, like they'll save the world, sort of thing. So like whenever I'm feeling down, like that movie just cheers me up. But watch UHF when you get a chance.
UHF, okay. I never knew Weird Al, I guess, was as famous as he was. Like I always thought, I don't know, I guess he was like pre-internet or pre-modern internet as we know it. To me, he kind of just feels like a pre-YouTuber before YouTube. Yeah. Like, and I didn't know that he actually had more mainstream success than he really did. Like,
he's got like platinum and gold albums and shit.
Yeah,
like
I didn't know any of that. I just thought he had like some funny songs, and we'd like reference them once in a while, and that was it. I didn't realize he was as popular as he was. Or is. He's in the movie, which is funny, and he plays like a executive, which is very also ironic, right? So Twitter not dead.
Twitter's not going to die. I don't think it is. So okay. So I tweeted a little bit about this. So what do you think of what Elon's been doing? Like, do you think that what he's doing is good or bad, or are you just sort of like, I'm just going to kind of wait and see?
I think I'm gonna wait and see. Like, obviously, I love that he's bringing people back, and like he brought back Kathy Griffin, like as establishment, like Trump derangement syndrome person as it gets, and like he brought her back in the same halls like the Babylon Bee, right, or something like that. Jordan Peterson, which like Jordan Peterson wasn't on Twitter. Like I didn't even realize that.
He got kicked off because of the Ellen/Elliot Page thing.
Oh my God, he did?
He tweeted something about that, and he got kicked off.
Like good. So like I like that stuff.
Yeah,
but that's kind of small potatoes for like all of Twitter. Like that, those are easy because those are big name people that are there and then are not there anymore. I don't know how you can really fuck up Twitter besides like censoring. Like it just I guess. Maybe it's easier said than done, but like, don't let people threaten people, dox people. You can have more filters. Like I've always said, like, just because I'm for, I'm a proponent of free speech doesn't mean like you have to see everything. Like I don't want to see like, now sometimes I do watch people getting their heads cut off, but like I don't want to see like certain things, and I don't want them to necessarily pop up. And like you should be able to have filters, and those filters can can contain certain words. Like that's ridiculous. Like you have to see every time that like the N-word pops up. Like, like, no, I don't want to see that.
Right.
But,
yeah, of course.
and like you should be able to. I always like I call people cowards for taking off replies when they have a spicy take, but I think you should be able to do it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so as long as you keep stuff like that. The problem is, and I have been listening. They talk about this on Breaking Points. You know, Mercedes or Microsoft or whatever, Sony doesn't want their ad right next to someone like ranting about the Jews. Like I get that,
sure,
but I don't know. That's Twitter. Like, and we see the slippery slope that happens, and I don't even think Twitter gets a lot of money from ad revenue, and I don't know how many of these businesses are getting money from their ads.
Yeah.
So I hope that it's enough. I don't want it to go to subscription because I don't want to pay. But that is a way to, like, subscriptions do allow the entity to promote free speech more. Like that's just because you don't have to rely on ads, because if you're relying on ads and those advertisers pull their ads because they don't like what the speech is, well, then the company is beholden to the advertisers because they need to exist. They're for profit. I would love to see Twitter be made as a public utility, like all these. I think all these social media companies should be, but fine. Like I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Right.
Getting back to your question, do I think what Elon's doing is good? I love the hysteria from if you look at, there's always that chart that comes out. It's like 98% of like, you can't have a platform where tons of people are getting their news and a lot of the discourse is being spread through this. And this is whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is. And like 98% are donating to the Democratic Party and think that it's going to be neutral. Like it's just not.
Right.
And you always see that. And I think the most that was Republican was like Oracle. And that was still like a third, like a 2/3. And so like these companies are not neutral, especially when it comes to things like, the election, when a certain story about a certain laptop is getting censored because that could keep someone from winning or losing. Like it's just, it's human nature. Like I get it.
Yeah.
So you can't say it's neutral and then have shit like that happen. So right now, but I also don't know if Elon's going too far. I don't know if he knows what he's doing.
Right.
I don't know. I don't like people losing their jobs, but I think a lot of these people would also not blink an eye for cutting me off from my followers and from my access to Twitter. So maybe I don't give a fuck about them. Like, I don't know.
Most of these people, and this is gonna sound cruel, but I come from Silicon Valley, so I think I have a little bit of expertise in this.
You could say this. You're one of them. Like these are my people. Yeah.
I don't really give a shit that they're losing it, and I think the main reason is because most of the people who are losing their jobs are six-figure earners who are getting very generous severance packages. They're getting golden parachutes, so it's not like. And they're getting laid off, and so they're not getting fired. You're getting laid off. It's not, it's something different. And also it's, you're getting, you have Twitter on your resume, so that's a pretty big fucking thing. I'm not too worried about most of these people.
Sure.
I would feel I would feel more bad for like if there was a janitor who lost their job at Twitter, where it's like, like that. I feel bad for them.
That's what I always feel bad about when like there's some movie that gets canceled or something, or like when Jim Carrey, for instance, came out and like talked so much shit about Kick-Ass 2. I mean, this was a while ago because of some shooting that happened that you can't keep track of. I was like, dude, but think of all the people who worked on that movie. All the camera guys and sound guys and costume and makeup and all the other actors who aren't Jim Carrey. Like, it's kind of shitty to do that. Yeah. And I do like, so I have that sentiment with you too. This is where like my labor side comes in, where I'm like, I don't want people just like, it's destabilizing. It's people losing their jobs is like causes so many other problems. But these are the people who were saying to learn to code to like the minors. It's like, okay, so like maybe fuck them. Like maybe I don't really care. I don't know. And also we don't want to paint with a broad, but like there could be people at Twitter who are just totally normal, who are just engineers and they want to work for a cool company and they don't have crit woke views. And what I don't know. So I feel bad for them too, but I don't know. I'm torn. That aside, I I think that right now, as long as it exists,
Uh-huh.
and as long as we continue down this path, I think it's good. Like I
Yeah.
think it's headed in the right, even with the temporary satisfaction of the meltdown.
Yeah.
Like just that aside,
Yeah.
I do think we're headed in the right direction. I think Elon will get it under control.
I think so too.
And okay, he fired a bunch of people, but like he could hire a bunch too, and people who are who share the same views
Yeah.
as people like us. Go
Right.
ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I've seen Elon do a lot, and I, I admire Elon in a lot of ways, and there are other things where I'm like, I don't know, dude. But here's the thing about Elon is that I've seen him take a lot of crazy business risks, where it's like, he'll do something and then like Tesla stock will dip, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, ha, 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 look at that, and a few months later it just shoots back up.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I've seen him do like quite a few like seemingly impossible things, and then like it seems like whenever he fucks up, it's like one step backward, three steps forward with that guy. And I'm not saying like, oh, like what he's like, what he's doing is perfectly calculated. Maybe he is in over his head. Maybe he doesn't know what he's doing here. Maybe there's a chance of that. But it's also, here's the other thing though too, and I tweeted about this, is that true genius is very easy to mistake with madness when you first encounter it. So it's like, it could be like, oh, what the fuck are you doing, Elon? But it could be like 3 months from now, like, oh shit, like, it could, so I saw this, and somebody else tweeted about how Twitter was very profitable up until about 2020, where they started hiring a lot of engineers and product managers, even though there's only one product, which is just posting text online. So I don't know why you would need so many fucking product people and engineers and developers and marketing, where it's like for a social media company, it seems bizarre to me. So they started to become like yeah, exactly. And so the profits were dipping quite a bit for the last 2 years. So this might be a very smart business move. Like we're cutting back because Twitter's one thing. It's 240 characters. There's some other features and things, but we don't.
I think that's what people love about it.
Yeah.
Like that's what people love about it, because it's still fairly simple. And yeah, we might lose like, okay, some celebrities are leaving Twitter. Who gives a shit? Like, most of the celebrities are boring, parroting the same views anyway. Like it's not.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, people went to Twitter to follow like I remember one of my first follows was Conan O'Brien, who I actually really like still.
Yeah, me too.
But like that was fun. It's like, oh my god, I can hear what Conan O'Brien has to say,
Yeah,
not on his show. Like that's real, or on an interview or something.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And now it's not. It's more see what your friends are saying, or what your friends are tweeting or shit posting or whatever. Like
there was a bit of like an instant connection where it's like, oh, if I responded to Conan's tweet, then he might respond back. Like there is sort of like but that novelty seems to have gone quite. It's not
and Jennifer Aniston apparently said recently, like the celebrity is gone, or like the modern movie star or whatever it is. And it was on Instagram, and I commented, it's like, yeah, because you guys tweeted too much. Like there used to be a mystique to celebrity, and the whole like Kardashianization of reality TV in the 2000s and all that, like it ruined it. And maybe not for everyone, but like now, you have a mass shooting and you have Mark Ruffalo tweeting about it, and it's like, you're not saying anything original.
Exactly.
And you're going to alienate a certain portion of the population, whether that's 25 to 75%, whatever it is, on some issue.
Right.
And it's like, okay, that does take away from it. Like people don't care. And doesn't mean Hollywood's always been, and I don't just mean Hollywood, but like there have always been politics in it. Like one of my favorite actors of all time, Marlon Brando, was very political. Yeah. But there seemed more to, like, I guess there was something more to that when he was like talking with James Baldwin and doing things for like native rights than like a tweet. Yeah. Like I think the emptiness of it, the insipidness of it was like that's what it all is now. Yeah.
It's very much like that Team America thing of like, it's our job to read the headlines and then to repeat them as if they were our own thoughts, sort of thing. Where it's like, okay, now like we get a flood of that on Twitter of wealthy, famous people saying stupid, boring, generic shit that everyone else is already saying. It's like, okay, there's nothing provocative or interesting or dangerous or insightful. It's just, you're just repeating what every other millionaire is saying.
I think people liked the idea of maybe not knowing what, like they just wanted to see the next movie that you were in. as a celebrity. Like we didn't want to know what that like you have contempt for a certain part of this population. Like people in Missouri want to watch your movies too.
Yeah.
Or even not even, you don't have to do Missouri. People in I don't know, Santa Clarita want to like watch your movies too, and not think that, you know, we're pieces of shit for voting a certain way.
Yeah. And I think it's incentivized celebrities to, you know, like, but before the advent of social media, it was like, you know, I need to stay relevant by appearing in more movies and more TV shows. But now it's like, I need to stay relevant because I don't have a project lined up for 3 months. I need to tweet about this thing. I need to share my thoughts about this political issue. And see, you know, before it was like, oh, you know, it's been a while since I heard about this actor. I'm glad that he got the lead role. I'm glad that he's playing the new Batman or something like that. Where it's like, oh, like once every 3 years, you know, this actor would there'd be like a resurgence in popularity of this actor. But now it's just like I hear more about Daniel Radcliffe talking about trans rights than I do about like, oh, he's going to be in this movie. Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. It's like, no, it's every time he's trending, it's always because of trans stuff, or he disagrees with J.K. Rowling. It's like, dude, be in a fucking movie. Go do something interesting. Like,
actually, my girlfriend's in a show with him right now.
With Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he actually said hi to me the other day, which was pretty cool.
And what did he say?
What?
J.K. Rowling was right.
So, no, I didn't really see much about that. I think at the same time, like, and I'm not defending him because he's working with my girlfriend. Like, I think a lot of times, like, it's an interviewer just like asking a question and they have to say what their PR person tells them. Should you do that? Like, no, or unless you actually believe that. Right. But I agree with you in the sense of like, yeah, people are now, celebrities are in the they need to stay relevant because they're celebrities. That's what they get off on that. So they will find they'll go on like social media and just say the thing that'll get them the most applause.
Yeah.
Anyway, Twitter, I think, will be, my consensus is that Twitter will be fine.
Yeah.
I hope so, because I love it and I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it a lot, but I also love it.
I know. Yeah. It's a really fun and insane asylum to be inside of. But it cracked me up a couple of weeks ago when there was like that mass exodus of celebrities who were leaving Twitter, but it was like, I didn't know they were on Twitter. Like, it was like, oh, I hadn't heard about that name in 3 years, sort of thing. It was
yeah, it's like no one gives a shit. Like, okay, we didn't know you were here. It was like when what's his name left Spotify. Do you think
Neil Young?
Yeah, Neil Young, yeah. Did that? And he's obviously very famous, but like, did that work out for him? Like, who is that benefiting?
Yeah, exactly.
That benefit him? Like, okay, now people who love your music can't listen to you, or at least on this, and then like you lose money, I guess.
Yeah.
And no one really gives a shit about the stance. Like, do you think you gained any fans from doing that? So like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. And it's funny, you would think that he would have like pretty, you know, a sizable audience with the right, because he has kind of like a more folksy rock song, but it's like, oh, I'm going to side with the big corporations.
Like, yeah, wasn't he doing like, what was it, in the free world?
Rocking in the free world.
Rocking in the free world, like, and you're siding with like the establishment, dude.
Yeah.
Like so many of these people who were once counterculture. Like, that's one of my favorites is who did I just see? Oh, I forget who it is, but it's John Leguizamo.
Oh yeah,
John Leguizamo. If you click on him, the first thing that's to is like counterculture. Yeah. You counterculture? Are you out of your mind?
Right.
Like, dude, you're saying Latinx.
Yeah.
And you're like the Latino of Hollywood.
Right.
Like the mouthpiece for progressive Latinx Hollywood. Like, you're not counterculture.
Yeah. Or Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, that hurts.
I know.
I loved Rage Against the Machine, man. They were one of my favorites. And I don't know, is it Zach De La Rocha? I feel like, did he stick to his principles more or no?
I'm not sure. I haven't kept tabs on him much.
It's really Tom Morello who's just like the sellout.
Yeah.
Like he's such a fucking sellout, and that hurts.
Yeah.
But I thought Zach De La Rocha was more, and I thought that was like part of why they broke up. I don't know, because Tom Morello, they went like way more commercial and created Audio Slave, with who I love, Chris Cornell, rest in peace.
Yeah.
I like Audio Slave a lot, but I thought that might have been part of it. I could be totally off there.
I will give credit to Tom Morello though. Like he talked about Ted Nugent, who is ultra like right wing guy. But I like that he's like I'm still friends with Ted Nugent though. Like where it's like we can strongly disagree about politics, but like when we talk music, it's like we can be best buds. I'm like, all right, I'll give you credit for that, for not because it'd be so easy for him to be like, I don't stand by his politics, so I'm not going to support him. I can't be friends with him. It's like, oh, you're at least willing to be friends with him. That's cool.
It's both of those things. It's like it is good to hear that. It's also sad that he has to say that.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it's good to hear that because of how shitty our culture is, where it's like you have to disavow or like affirm people on their views. It's like, why can't you just both be musicians?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But they are also both like very political. Like Ted Nugent's very openly right wing, where apparently people say there's a lot more like right wingers in Hollywood than you'd think, or like Republicans. There's not.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They're just like not vocal about it.
So I know what's her face. Bridget Fedesi once talked about this on
maybe that's where I heard it. Yeah,
where she's like she's got a lot of friends in the entertainment industry who are like, I don't tell anybody, but I sometimes listen to Ben Shapiro. I don't know exactly how many conservatives or Republicans there are necessarily in Hollywood, but at the very least, I think there are a lot of people who are definitely more moderate, who lean left, but are probably like more moderate, and they're sort of like yeah, sure, I'll sign my name on the diversity thing, but I'm not going to go out actively promote it. But I'll just do it so I can keep my job. So
yeah, they say like there's what's most things. It's they say the fringe, or not even the fringe necessarily, like the vocal aspect of the group as a whole, right? There's like the vocal section of it, who is intimidating, and so while most people don't even necessarily agree or don't care, they just parrot the line, because that's what's around them. Where you kind of have to be like a secret Republican. I don't know. Some might just like vote Democrat or not vote at all, but there's no like, it just, because Hollywood people come from all over. Like people come from middle America. They come from New England. They come from the deep South. Like it's not like they're all from there. Some are. And even within LA and Southern California and these places, like there's diversity in politics. And like, I just don't believe that all of these people have the same views.
Yes, absolutely.
Like people have different values, and your upbringing does have determines a lot of where you stand politically, and that might waver a little in like your early 20s and teens and early 20s. But like a lot of people do just kind of revert back to what they grew up with, at least in a bunch of principles and values. Not always true, and I just don't believe that all of these celebrities have like the same views.
Right.
And you see it because when someone does kind of step out of line, like there is people pounce. It was like with Chris Pratt, and it was like, oh, Chris Pratt might go to a church that's not like an LGBT friendly church. It's like, yeah, because he's fucking church. Like,
exactly.
Like Ben Shapiro, I think, said that was like, it's like Hollywood realizes like Chris Pratt's a Christian. Okay, like, and it's one thing if they're like the Westboro Baptist Church, like spreading hate, but it's like maybe they just don't support every single thing that you do.
Yeah, that was definitely like a sort of 6 degrees of bigotry sort of thing, where it's like with Chris Pratt, it was like, from what I understand, the church that he goes to, the church itself, I think is sort of like some kind of generic, like, what do you call it? Like, not necessarily, maybe it's non-denominational, or maybe it's sort of like, oh, we're just sort of like a general Judeo-Christian,
like non-denominational church.
It's some kind of church like that, and from what I understand, they're pretty open-minded. But I think the church is part of a network, and so one of the churches of that network happens to be a church that doesn't recognize a gay marriage. But it's sort of like you have to like connect the dots, like, oh, look, Chris Pratt, here's the whole map of things, and at some point, oh, here's a church over here that doesn't support gay marriage, therefore Chris Pratt's homophobic. And it's sort of like, no, dude, he's never said anything homophobic.
And then you have people like Mark Ruffalo coming out. It's like, I support Chris Pratt, like he's a good guy. It's like, yeah, like that's nice, and I'm glad that people like Mark Ruffalo say that, but like it kind of sucks has to be said. Like he didn't do anything. Like
Exactly.
he didn't.
Yeah.
He's not like on trial for any crime. Like
Yeah.
the dude went to church.
I know. Yeah. But yeah, what are you gonna do? It's interesting being in Hollywood, kind of seeing that stuff going on.
Yes.
No, it's actually really fucking boring.
You guys did not vote in Caruso.
I know.
He lost.
It's like the first time that I wouldn't even say like I was passionate. I was just kind of like, all right, cool. Like I'm like, I hope that this guy wins. And here's the thing, I don't even like the guy. Like he's a billionaire real estate developer. So it's not really someone who makes, but at the same time is like, I thought his policies were better than Karen Bass, who is just a career politician. Like for me, it was definitely a lesser of two evils vote for sure.
Yeah. And he was basically a Republican.
Yeah.
Which would have been kind of crazy if he won mayor of LA, even though he's like technically a Democrat. Like he's not, he's just a Republican.
But here's the thing, California Republicans are still pretty fucking moderate. And I think you have to be moderate if you want to be Republican, if you want to have an R next to your name and have any kind of chance of surviving. Like, you know, a California Republican is not an Oklahoma Republican by any stretch.
No, at least not in the vast majority of it. And the Republicans actually like basically won the House because of California and New York.
Yeah.
You know that and I'm not exaggerating, according to New York Times, every county in New York swung more right than 2020, really? Which was, they already were swinging right in 2020.
Yeah.
Like every single, that's Manhattan, that's Bronx, that's Kings County, which is Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like every single county. I mean, they flipped like 4 seats.
Oh, wow.
In New York. In California, a bunch of like very heavily Latino districts went Republican. And it was, and this is one of those things. I don't want to get into too much politics here, but it's like, this is where there's that both sidesism again, where it's like, okay, Trump won 2016 with losing the popular vote. But he won the Electoral College. And of course, it's on the Republicans defending the Electoral College and the Democrats talking about should be popular vote, you know. There's arguments for both. This time, Republicans won the popular vote in the midterm by like 5 million votes or something, like by a good amount, but they still lost the Senate. And barely won the House, like barely. And a lot of people are saying, well, that's because a lot of people moved during COVID. So, and they took their politics with them in terms of like, they were Republicans in California who went to Texas or Florida. That's why those states got redder. Florida is a red state now, basically. I mean, for the time being, it's like a deep red state, which is crazy. Obama won it twice. And people in already red areas voted even harder red, like more came out. But then the Republicans were too crazy for a lot of independents and Democrats where they were making gains. So they lost a lot of those districts where they looked like they had a chance and were purplish or even some blue that were going to swing red. And they're just like too unappeasing. But like in terms of raw numbers, the Republicans beat the Democrats in a popular vote, which doesn't happen very often. So anyway, just thought that was interesting.
It is.
I live in a pretty red district now, but my district's interesting. So the guy who my congressman actually won as a Democrat in 2018 and flipped, like he switched to Republican.
Really?
And now won by like 20 points.
Interesting.
Yeah, his name's Jeff Andrew. He's my congressman. And he said, you know, the Democrats, like he's one of those people who's like, I didn't leave the Democrats left me, like they became too crazy. But like he flipped, and it's not like he flipped and then lost. Like he's sure, like, no, my district's gotten much more red. So
interesting. Yeah, I'm curious about the demographics of who voted for Caruso. Because I remember reading a bit that he had a fairly strong turnout from Latino voters, which I wouldn't be surprised. But I need to see like the exit polls on that. But
I'll look in. I haven't really done the deep. I've just been looking at the map. I really like maps, and I'm interested in the stuff.
Nerd.
So yeah, I know. But it is. New Jersey gained 1 Republican seat. Actually, my old district that was a swing had been blue for a few cycles and then flipped red But it also they redistrict to make like a couple others stronger for Democrats, and
Yeah.
made this one weaker, and the Republican did win.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I got to get going to this cookie reception, and then there's a free concert, a classical thing afterwards. So probably
Well,
start
it
wrapping
sounds
this
very
up.
fun for you.
Yeah, no Satan. I'm taking a break from Satanism.
That's a big switch. Satanism to classical music.
A free classical concert at a university, and so
Where school is it at?
I'm not sure, but it's got Saint Mary in the title. It had a long name. It's like Saint Mary of the mountains and the oceans or whatever.
It's like college.
Yeah, it's a college.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, so that should be interesting. Well, you got any interesting cultural things lined up? Any Satanism or?
No, not this weekend. I have a chill weekend. I was in Columbus, Ohio last weekend. Barely
culture
got
there.
to see it though.
Mm.
I mean, it's supposed to be a nice city. I barely saw it. It was a
Yeah.
quick trip. But I don't have anything really to report there. But I'll be in New York next week.
Yeah, but there's nothing really cultural about that.
No, nothing there.
No.
Just evading getting fingered in the Port Authority.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little game I play. Not today. Not gonna get me. Not this time. I watched a guy shit his pants in the bathroom in the Port Authority one time. It was
Bummer,
gross. Yeah, it was very depressing.
Did it
10 out
inspire
of
you at all?
10. No, it just depressed me.
Oh.
It's like, and the toilet's right there. Like you're in the bathroom. I'm not exaggerating. Like he shit his pants. And I was like, oh, you fucking, like, God damn it. I just walked right out. But
my roommate Jim, he was at a park a while back, and he needed to go to the bathroom, so he went, and there were a couple of cholos, like one of them was blowing the other. Like he was really messed up by it because he's like, do I call the cops? But at the same time, it's like,
no, don't call the cops. They're
having fun. They're not really
consensual,
doing anything bad either. But
they're blowing each other.
But it was just like he was really scarred by it.
They were cholos. They're like,
he's like, like these gangbangers were just like blowing each other, man.
There's nothing more gangster than sucking your friend's dick. That's what I always said.
Oh man, but all right, man. On that note, stay reckless.
Go with Christ.
I'll
compelled. I hope you feel compelled.
A little bit, yeah.
Fight the crits.
All right, bye everybody.
Go
stay reckless.
Jesus.
Fight crits.